There's a trusted way to save up to 50% on your monthly healthcare
Let the
costs.
light in. Good morning.
It's pretty obvious.
Is it fad or fade? Fade? A fad? Does a fad fade away? Happy Bubble Tea Day, also known as boba. Why is it called? People think that it's called bubble tea because of the little foamy tapioca things in it. No, it describes the foamy bubbles that form when you shake the drink. Bubble tea. There you go. 10 seconds, Adam. Holy smokes. Whoa. Find somebody to do the weather. Here we go. Woo. And good Tuesday morning to you. It is Tuesday, April 30th. It is 14 minutes past the top of the hour, 6:14 a.m. And good morning to you, Meadow Vista. Currently 45 degrees where you're at right now. Looking for a high today of 69 degrees. All right, let's turn it over now, as we do, to the Fox Business Report.
I'm Stuart Barney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
McDonald's is
good morning. Got to drink my water today. Trying to drink more.
Seeing some customers pulling back. It says people
water,
more
water.
Discriminating with every dollar they spend. McDonald's also says it's been impacted by the Middle East war. The stock is losing ground. Coca-Cola shares are higher after an upbeat.
KAHI Radio.
Burger King's earnings came in better than expected.
Oh, weather today. Are you ready to get your suntan lotion on? It's gonna be sunny. Looking for a high of 74 today. So it's perfect sweatshirt weather.
Following the spin-off of its healthcare division on April 1st, GE.
Yeah, I think so. It's going to be some spring, hopefully.
The Wall Street was expecting even better numbers, and GE healthcare.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. We might get a few from here and there, but we should be pretty good. Yeah, that's what we're thinking. We've got meteorologist Tim Root on here. He'll give us a heads up here. All right, thanks for calling. Bye-bye.
The bread's ready.
It's as enticing as being in the kitchen. And
when people call in for the weather, oh, we'll play it here. You've got a meteorologist.
Radio, the medium that works with your mind.
Plant
Radio
sale.
paints the picture. Radio touches the senses. Radio constructs the vision you've never seen.
What are we going to play for the plant sale?
When Rick. Better way to get the word out. Call this station for details. On radio, the medium that works with your mind.
16 minutes past the top of the hour, 6:16 a.m. Gang, let's talk about another event for the calendar here. Hey, do you like a good plant sale? Well, if you do, the Colfax Garden Club is having a plant sale. Now, that's going to be on Saturday, May 11th from 8 a.m. to noon at the Roy Tom's Plaza. You know where that is. It's just right in downtown Colfax right there. Join us in downtown Colfax for the annual spring plant sale. To shop a variety of plants and garden-related items, veggies, flowers, shrubs, teas, garden art, floral arrangements, and so much more, just in time for Mother's Day and spring planting. Oh, yeah, that's right. Some good Mother's Day ideas there. So if you're looking for something for mom, for grandma there, that's right. The Colfax Garden Club Spring Plant Sale. It's going to be Saturday, May 11th. It's going to be from 8 a.m. to noon at the Roy Tom's Plaza, downtown Colfax. Again, they're going to have veggies, flowers, shrubs, trees, garden art, floral arrangements, and so much more. Again, just in time for Mother's Day and spring planting. It's getting a little warm out. It's feeling like it's spring out there. It's going to be time to put those plants in the ground. Again, the spring plant sale in Colfax, Saturday, May 11th, 8 a.m. to noon. Check it out. Back with more right after this.
Saw home insurance soar out of control, forcing many people to actually contemplate selling their home. Brandon Harris here to say it's not all
Colfax
at Homer
spring
Insurance.
sale.
You'll talk to real insurance experts.
There we go.
Real solutions. Dozens of real estate companies helping their agents solve problems every day. If you think you're paying too much, give us a crack and call Homer Insurance today.
Give us a crack.
916-339-77. 916.
Okay. What's coming up next? Sports
You
ball.
don't see them at night. Every day they steal from you.
Any device with a
Digital display.
on light or sleep mode steals energy. They may only steal a little bit, but like drops of water in a bucket,
It adds up and you pay.
stop energy theft. Printers and computers, when not in use, use a power strip for charging and turn the strip off when done. Stop energy thieves and save. Brought to you by Pioneer Community Energy.
18 minutes past the top of the hour, 6:18 a.m. Hey, if it's your birthday today, happy stinking birthday to you. Shout out to my cousin Allison and my cousin April. Two cousins from different families born on the exact same day. Brothers, my uncles, they both had daughters on the exact same day today. That was on this day. So happy birthday to my cousins Allison and April. Don't know if you're listening, but if you are, happy birthday to you. If you share a birthday with Eve Arden, born on this day in 1908. Back to America's First News. We'll be back with your sports ball at the bottom of the hour.
Tuesday morning is April 30th. The U.S. stepped up pressure Monday for a ceasefire deal in Gaza, as Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said a new proposal had been put to Hamas, whose officials were in
4 minutes.
talking to Egyptian mediators.
Okay.
Killed 26 people in Gaza's southernmost city of Rafah.
Sports ball, do we have that all lined up?
Meeting of the World Economic Forum.
Producer Adam, do we have the sports ball all lined up?
Do everything we can to bring in
Yeah?
terrible human suffering that we're seeing every single
Do
day.
baseball
Gaza,
A's? Did the Giants not play yesterday?
Men who've been caught in a terrible crossfire
Wow.
of Hamas's making. And so
A's versus the Pirates, and we'll have
support that gets to them. This is very
today,
much our
Tuesday,
focus
home,
now.
6 o'clock, 6:40 start time. Okay,
To bring
off
this
now to practice the
is
news.
to get to a ceasefire and the release of hostages.
Okay.
Hamas has before the proposal extraordinarily generous on the part of Israel. And in this moment, the only thing standing between the people of Gaza and a ceasefire is Hamas. They have to decide, and they have to decide quickly. So we're looking to that, and I'm hopeful that they will make the right decision. We've said clearly, and for some time now, on Rafah, that in the absence of a plan to ensure that civilians will not be harmed, we can't support a major military operation in Rafah, and we have not yet seen a plan that gives us confidence that civilians can be effectively protected.
The terms of the deal weren't public, but according to an Egyptian official and Israeli media, Israel has softened its position, lowering the number of hostages it demands that Hamas free during the initial 6-week phase of the ceasefire in return for the release of hundreds of Palestinians from Israeli prisons. Hannah Siegel is the niece of U.S. Israeli Keith Siegel.
I do think a deal can be reached. I mean, we know that a deal was reached in November. Dozens of women and children were released, including my aunt, Aviva Siegel. So we know that it's possible, and I do think that's really important to remember. The United States played a critical role in November. I think, ultimately this is a negotiation between Hamas and Prime Minister Netanyahu in Israel. And one of the things that really worries my family and worries me is that it's arguably not in Prime Minister Netanyahu's political interest to close a deal. And, for us, this is the moment. These videos, as you know, there was a video released a couple of days ago of another American hostage, Hirsch Goldberg Poland. I do think that these two videos are a signal from Hamas that they are ready to make a deal, and a reminder that there are American citizens being held, including Keith. I think, there is a lot swirling in the political landscape in Israel, and I'm not here to talk about that, but there have been negotiations going on for months now. We're at 205 days. There have been deals on the table, and they've proven elusive, and I worry that that is because of Prime Minister Netanyahu. So I think that now is the moment. I have faith that we can do a deal now, but I also think that if that isn't possible, then the Biden administration should think about what they can do directly to bring our American citizens home.
Siegel making the remarks to CBS. The war in Gaza has ground on with little end in sight. More than 34,000 Palestinians have been killed, hundreds of thousands more displaced, and a humanitarian crisis in Gaza is worsening. The conflict has fueled mass protests across the globe that have spread to American campuses. U.S. support for Israel, particularly arms transfers, has come under particular criticism, something the administration is keenly aware of poses potential problems for President Joe Biden during an election year. Pro-Palestinian protesters at Columbia University rejected an ultimatum issued by University President Manoush Shafiq to disband their encampment. Student organizers said they won't leave unless forced to.
President Shafiq sent out an email announcing the end of negotiations and declared explicitly that the university will not divest from Israel. In that same email, President Shafiq claimed that we had constructive dialogue regarding the student encampment and made insincere statements regarding the university's actions. The university's negotiations evidence an elementary understanding of the words boycott and divest, which have been at the heart of the student movement and at the heart of our encampment.
Columbia's threat to mass suspend, evict, or possibly expel students with only a few hours' notice violates university rules. Faculty in the University Senate, who rejected Columbia's plan because it is illegal, were informed that rules of university conduct will not be applied in this instance because the university has declared a state of emergency to manufacture consent for mass suspensions and evictions. Protesters have been entirely peaceful, and the university has previously agreed that it has no grounds to call in the NYPD. This is not stopping Columbia from illegally declaring a state of emergency, which requires Columbia to falsely identify nonviolent protesters as a clear and present danger.
Columbia, in response, began suspending students as protesters and police clashed Monday at the University of Texas in a confrontation that resulted in dozens of arrests. The outcry is forcing colleges to reckon with their financial ties to Israel, as well as their support for free speech. Some Jewish students say the protest had veered into anti-Semitism and made them afraid to set foot on campus. Former Congressman and current CEO of the American Jewish Committee, Ted Deutsch, responding to Democratic Senator Bernie Sanders on CNN, said there is a clear difference between free speech and anti-Semitism.
And on college campuses, the reason that Jewish students are at risk is because the protesters, so many of the protesters, aren't calling for the release of hostages. They're not making demands of the butcher, Sinwar, who slaughtered over 1,200 people on 10/7. They're calling for more 10/7.
Right now, what Netanyahu's right-wing, extremist, and racist government is doing is unprecedented in the modern history of warfare. Right now, we are looking at the possibility of mass starvation and famine in Gaza. When you make those charges, that is not anti-Semitic. That is a reality.
Yeah, I don't need Senator Sanders to lecture me about the reality of what's happening on college campuses. I spent time with students from Columbia, from Rutgers, from Brown last week, and it is not peaceful protests that has people screaming for more 10/7s, a 10/7 every day, 1,000 10/7s, 10,000 10/7s. It's not political discourse to tell Jews that they should be gassed. It's no free speech expression to say that Jews should go back to Poland, where 90% of the Jewish population was slaughtered during the Holocaust. With all due respect to Senator Bernie Sanders, what's happening on college campuses right now from so many of these protesters who are out advocating on behalf of the Hamas terrorists who slaughtered 1,200 is absolutely dangerous. It is inconsistent with the very things that Senator Sanders says that he actually cares about, which is free speech and the ability for everyone's voice to be heard.
A class action lawsuit on behalf of Jewish students alleges a breach of contract by Columbia, claiming the university failed to maintain a safe learning environment despite policies and promises. It also challenges the move away from in-person classes and seeks quick court action, requiring Columbia to provide security for the students. Meanwhile, a legal group representing pro-Palestinian students is urging the Department of Education Civil Rights Office to investigate Columbia's compliance with the Civil Rights Act of 1964 for how they've been treated. Reach out to me anytime across the board on social media at Matt Ray Talk. More on the way. You've got America's First News.
America's First News, coast to coast with Matt Ray.
Hey everyone, Joanne Butler here with Spring Must-Haves you have to know about. Let's start with Starbucks. They're making it even better right now. big time. The two new lavender flavored drinks are just so good. A lavender cream matcha and lavender latte, both made with milk. Super delicious. Everything.
Supreme Court refused to hear the appeal from
All this kind of limited time, no longer lasts. Carry on.
Now, time for another Otis Advisory. Fun burglars, they're in charge, and the big shakedown is in high gear. When the gum stuck under your desk looks better than what's left on the shelf at the store, you have landed in the new America. And Joey's not going to do anything. When they ask him if he has cataracts, he said, "No, I have Buicks." So lower your expectations, cries the intelligentsia, while the nice congressman lady from Brooklyn looks for a new trade route to your wallet. Fun burglars, they like it when you're worried, because you're easier to scare. So no more Halloween and no orange of any kind anywhere in the building ever. Got it? Till Christmas.
All right, here we go.
If your house is in
Sports ball time.
they're going to need.
Ooh, I didn't
to
practice the
hold down
sports ball.
and change
Oh, well.
into pajamas while they get over the.
Starting on the hardwood.
So if you're
Here we
one of
go.
those who still
On the
cut your
eastern
own
side of the
grass,
country,
you
first round,
understand.
Celtics versus the Heat.
Remember,
Celtics
socialism
versus
is
the
what
Heat on the eastern side of the country, first round. Celtics versus the Heat.
Sure, you can still
Celtics
buy
win that
tonic
one,
water at the mall,
102 to 88. That's
doesn't
game 4.
mean
Boston
the
leads the
truth
series.
is critical Otis theory. And
All right.
remember your Uncle Otis secret decoder ring
And
to pick out all the hidden messages in this stupid bit.
here we go. Forest Hill.
This your Uncle Otis.
And good Tuesday morning to you. It is Tuesday, April 30th, 30 minutes past the top of the hour, 6:30 a.m. And hey, good morning to you, Rockland. Currently 47 degrees where you're at right now. Looking for a high today, a very nice 77 degrees. All right, there's the sports ball music. Let's get right into it. We're going to start on the hardwood. NBA, we are in the postseason. Let's keep reading those playoff scores here. Celtics versus the Heat. This is on the eastern side of the country, first round. Celtics win that one, 102 to 88. That is game 4. Boston leads the series 3-1. Thunder versus the Pelicans. This is on the western side of the country, first round. Thunder, bring the Thunder, and win that one, 97 to 89. That is game 4. Oklahoma wins that series 4-0. Lakers versus the Nuggets, again on the western side of the country. First round, Nuggets win that one, 108 to 106. Denver wins the series. Holy smokes, 4-1 there. The Lakers are out. My goodness gracious. Heading over to the Major Leagues MLB right now. Pirates versus the A's yesterday. A's win that one, 5-1. If you heard all the action here on KAHI, well, you can do it again. The Pirates and the A's play again tonight. This is a home series for the A's right now. They're going to be at home for a while, so lots of chances to see the A's here. We've got the game at 6:40 p.m. tonight is the first pitch. The radio time is at 6 p.m. today, so catch all the pregame stuff, all that good stuff here on KAHI. Again, the A's versus the Pirates tonight. Radio time starts at 6 p.m., first pitch at 6:40 p.m. again tonight. Good stuff there. We will be back with your KAHI weather right after. Oh, wait a minute. No, we're not done yet. Let's read some of more baseball scores here. Dodgers versus the Diamondbacks. Oh, Dodgers win that one 8-4. Padres versus the Reds. Reds win that one 5-2. Braves versus the Mariners. Mariners up there 2-1. Angels versus the Phillies. Well, there's a California team that won. Angels win that one 6-5. Brewers versus the Rays. Rays win that one 1-0. Cubbies versus the Mets. Cubs on top there 3-1. And Royals versus the Blue Jays. Blue Jays win that one 6-5. All right, we're going to go off to commercial and then back with your KAHI weather right after this. Well, let's just only read one score. We'll have to browse the rest of them. Yay for bubble tea, right? Woohoo! It's going to be an interesting discussion. All right, Timmy, you're up. Get ready with your weather report.
You can also download our KAHI radio app at KAHI.com and enjoy the voice of the foothills at AM 950 KAHI at any time, day or night.
For Tuesday morning, we have some nice spring weather in the
Ooh, nice spring weather.
No precipitation expected. Mostly sunny.
All right, this is a little different now with Tuesdays with the Meddlers meeting. We only have 5 minutes for our next one. Traffic report, so that's going to be a local announcement. Ag report, and then back to America's First News.
So with this,
Boy, this hour goes by fast.
This is your out to Tim Root from FM 104.5
And AM 950 KAHI.
Because KAHI cares.
Here's another community. Oh, this is the bric-a-brac one.
If food rules your
Okay,
life,
it's
get
Jenny.
help and
Good.
support from a group that understands your situation.
Oh!
Support group for eating disorders. There are no weigh-ins, no dues, or fees. Just individuals that understand. Join them at 10 a.m. on Wednesdays at the Pioneer United Methodist Church, 11338 Lincoln Way. Or call Sherry at
John Galecki.
921-8028 or go to OA.org.
33 minutes past the top of the hour, 6:33 a.m. Coming up in our next segment, we're going to have your California Ag Report, also another event for the calendar. Make sure that you've got up to date on all of the things around here. And then we're going to go back to America's First News, a little bit different on Tuesdays, since we've got the Meddlers meeting coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. And then in the 8 o'clock hour, we're talking about bubble tea. Have you heard of this bubble tea? Do you know about this craze here? We'll talk a little bit more about that on this National Bubble Tea Day. Back now to America's First News. See you back here in just a little bit.
Republican lawmakers in Kansas failed Monday to override the Democratic governor's veto of a proposed ban on gender-affirming care for transgender minors. The vote was 82
All right.
in the State House. Kelly's veto, but that was 2 votes shy of the necessary.
What are we going to announce? We got 5 minutes for our next segment. Let's set the timer. We will talk. Ooh, my goodness gracious. I should check my text messages here. Bubble tea. Happy National Bubble Tea Day. Let's start by talking about the exciting bubble tea selection at your new. Oh, that's a good question. What inspired you to combine healthy? Is it poke? Poke bowls? Like Pokemon? Poke? I'm going to have to figure out. Poke bowls? Poke bowls with these fun and flavorful drinks. For listeners who might not be familiar with bubble tea, can you describe the variety of flavors and toppings you offer? What are some unique combinations you recommend for first timers? Well, that's a good question. Highlight the restaurant's success. Congratulations on the rave reviews, even after just a few weeks. What do you think is resonating with your customers so far? The concept of healthy and delicious seems to.
The courage and self-sacrifice to earn that honor.
For those tuning in, feel free to like and subscribe to this video. What made you take the leap to open your own restaurant? Was there a specific need you saw in the community that you're trying to fill? Looking ahead, what are your long-term goals for your restaurant? Do you envision expanding your menu or concept? Man, these are good questions. We have curious listeners at home. If someone wants to try a poke bowl, a poke bowl. What are some of the key ingredients you'd recommend that include delicious for a delicious National Bubble Tea Day is all about flavor exploration. For listeners who are already fans, what are some creative bubble tea combinations they could try at your restaurant? How do you make the tapioca things too? Do those come or do you make those handmade? Like what? Oh, goodness. Man, these are good questions. Thank you.
Also recognize the broader generation of veterans who are now.
Also, I feel like I didn't put on enough deodorant. I don't know. Lad Campbell in here.
Triggering a leadership contest as the governing national.
All right, off now to record the news. Back after this.
UK-wide parliamentary election expected later this year. His pro-independence party had been weakened by a campaign finance scandal and divisions over transgender rights, and his decision to oust the Green Party from his governing coalition because of differences over climate change goals.
Unfortunately, in ending the Butte House subpoena in the manner that I did, I clearly underestimated the level of hurt and upset that caused Green colleagues. For a minority government to be able to govern effectively and efficiently, trust when working with the opposition is clearly fundamental. And while a route through this week's motion of no confidence was absolutely possible, I am not willing to trade my values and principles or do deals with whoever simply for retaining power. Therefore, after spending the weekend reflecting on what is best for my party, for the government, and for the country I lead, I've concluded that repairing our relationship across the political divide can only be done with someone else at the helm. I have therefore informed the SNP's National Secretary of my intention to stand down as party leader and ask that she commences a leadership contest for my replacement as soon as possible. In order to ensure a smooth and orderly transition, it is my intention to continue as First Minister until my successor has been elected.
The debacle adds to the fevered political climate in the UK, with the country preparing for parliamentary elections at a time when concerns about immigration, healthcare, and government spending have undermined support for the governing Conservative Party. Turning to sports this morning, and Jamal Murray scored 32 points despite a strained calf and hit the game winner with 3 seconds left, and the defending NBA champion Denver Nuggets bounced LeBron James from the playoffs again with a 108-106 victory in Game 5 Monday.
Will be Murray and Reeves. The Clippers are 2 seconds for game clock in the shot clock. Worst case scenario, we're going to overtime. Jokic a screen, Murray to try to put it. No timeout on the Lakers, they gotta go. James, up the feed, a quick shot, no! Zero's on the clock, the Nuggets advance. They have won, and the defense of their championship title is alive and well.
Kevin Harlan and Reggie Miller with the call on TNT. It was Murray's buzzer beater that also won Game 2, but he said this one was better.
Oh, Jesus, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a dream come true. All these fans are excited and to get together in this action, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what to say. I'm just happy for it.
The Nuggets move on to take on the Timberwolves in the second round starting next weekend. That series begins in Denver, where the Nuggets are a Western Conference best 36-8, including 3-0 in the playoffs. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 24 points and 10 rebounds as the Thunder beat the Pelicans at 97-89 to complete a 4-game sweep of their first-round series. Jalen Williams finished with 24 points. Josh Giddey and Chet Holmgren had 14. The Thunder are now the youngest team to win a playoff series, something Williams said is immediate talking.
We don't really, we don't see it as youth or being young, or we haven't used that excuse all year. We didn't use it last year. It's that's another thing for us to not think about. So, it's kind of been brought up. That's just something that everybody needs to talk about. We kind of just leave it out there. Intimidation basketball, and we're coming to compete regardless of how old you are, things like that. So I don't think we pay too much attention to be the youngest to do that. It's just more about how can we get better throughout each experience that we have, and just kind of that nature of just trying to constantly improve throughout these experiences.
C. David Collins scored 20 points for New Orleans, which was plagued by 4 3-point shooting. The Pelicans hit just 8 of 34 shots from the field. And Boston now has full control of its Eastern Conference series, with Derek White hitting a career-high 38 points Monday and leading the top-seeded Celtics past the 8th-seeded Heat 102-88 to take a 3-1 lead in their opening round. Jason Tatum had 20 points and 10 boards for the Celtics, who got 17 points from Jaylen Brown and 11 from Drew Holiday. With 5:04 left, there was some drama after Tatum tried to hit a 3 moments after a foul was called. Bam Adebayo defended the dead ball play, and Tatum rolled his left ankle after Adebayo stepped into his landing area. That is a no-no. Referees called a flagrant 1 on Adebayo and a technical on the Celtics' Al Horford for reacting. Adebayo didn't want to talk about it after the game. Tatum was glad he wasn't injured.
And what was the explanation given to you on that play in the fourth quarter there with Jason?
Bro, I don't even know, dog. We just gonna move on from that. You're gonna get me fined.
I mean, y'all saw it. I shot the ball afterwards, landed on his foot. Same ankle that I hurt in Game 7 last year that I hurt against the Warriors, that I tweaked against the Clippers. So didn't feel good at first, but it was just that. And I don't want to make it a bigger deal than what it is. Little play, I wasn't tripping, moved on, kept playing, worried about the rest of the game.
And just while you're down there, Al is leaning into the refs. I mean, what was it like to see Al come in there and show a level of fire that we don't usually see?
No, I mean, that's the OG. And it's, we all on the team together, we all brothers. So right or wrong, you got to ride with your brother.
The Celtics now have an injury concern, with Kristaps Porzingis lifting his jersey over his face in exasperation after getting hurt late in the first half. He left the arena in a walking boot. No word on his condition. They can move on to the second round Wednesday when they host Game 5. And in the NHL, Sergei Bobrovsky made 31 saves. Alexander Barkov and Carter Verhaeghe each had 2 goals. And the Florida Panthers beat the Tampa Bay Lightning 6-1 in Game 5 to clinch their first-round series and advance in the playoffs. And Wyatt Johnston scored his 3rd goal in 2 games. And Dallas beat the defending champion Las Vegas 4-2 to even their first-round NHL playoff series. Game 5 is Wednesday in Dallas. The road team has won every game. And the Dodgers played an entire game without striking out once in their 8-4 victory over the Diamondbacks, which is the first time the franchise played a full game without a punch-out since 2006. LA has won 7 of its past 8 games. The Dodgers had 44 plate appearances without a strikeout. Reach out to me anytime on social media at Matt Ray Talk. You've got America's First News. Good morning.
America's First News with Matt Ray.
Wayne Fireball, CPA and certified financial planner professional here, with more tips for fireproofing your money. The most commonly stated reason for investing is retirement. It's so prevalent that the word retirement is even featured prominently in many of our favorite savings vehicles. 401k, retirement.
Okay, here we go. Local traffic.
We have the means, some sort of dedicated investment account.
No traffic really happening
Don't
at this
forget
point.
that like every financial goal, retirement as a destination has 2 components: desired amount
We're
and
gonna
target
have
time frame. In other words, you need both a when and a how much before you have any real retirement plan. This being sufficiently specific with either element, and you'll never have real peace about having enough money to live the retirement years.
Sunshine Day. All right.
This is Wayne Fireball. Check out fireproofyourmoney.com for tips on setting and reaching your financial goals.
And good Tuesday morning to you. It is Tuesday, April 30th. It is 15 minutes to the top of the hour, 6:45 a.m. And hey, good morning to you, Forest Hill. Currently 44 degrees where you're at right now. Looking for a high today of 66 degrees. Hey, let's talk about another event for the calendar. It's the 3rd annual Step Out of Stigma. It's a mental health awareness walk and resource fair. This is going to be Sunday, May 5th. So coming up pretty close here, I believe next weekend. It's going to be beginning at 2 p.m. It's going to be at Railhead Park in Auburn. That's at 175 Pacific Avenue. You know where Railhead Park is. It's kind of behind the fairgrounds over there, Gold Country Fairgrounds. Check it out. There's going to be a day of interactive games, prizes, music, and more as we stand together against the stigma of mental illness. Again, it's the Step Out of Stigma. It's the 3rd annual Step Out of Stigma Mental Health Awareness Walk and Resource Fair. That's going to be Sunday, May 5th. It's going to be beginning at 2 p.m. at Railhead Park in Auburn, 175 Pacific Avenue. You can register at beautifulmindswellness.org. Again, that's beautifulmindswellness.org. Or you can call 530-217-3870. Registration fee, it's $10 per person. Children 12 and under are free. Again, it's going to be a day of interactive games, prizes, music, and more as we stand together against the stigma of mental illness. Again, register at beautifulmindswellness.org. With more right after this.
Radio Law Talk, the most exciting, entertaining, and sometimes informative radio show on earth. Listen to us live on KAHI, the voice of the foothills, every Saturday morning, 9 to noon, here on FM 104.5 and AM 950. You can also find us on KAHI.com and the KAHI app. Remember, that's Radio Law Talk, live, 9 to noon every Saturday, right here on KAHI, AM and FM, the voice of the foothills.
With California Ag Today, I'm
Haley Ship.
Voting began yesterday to select 2 independent grower positions and 2 independent handler positions on the Almond Board California Board of Directors. Alternate seats for those spots are also on the ballot. Voting ends June 23rd. Now, as I look through the list, which you can find a link to on our website, aginfo.net, there are several names, including many incumbents. Ballots and instructions have been mailed to all independent growers and handlers.
All independent growers and handlers.
Every vote is important, and it's equally important to have as much of the industry as possible represented in the voting, said ABC President and CEO Clarissa Turner, adding that the board of directors represents more than 7,600 growers and 100 handlers. house.
Much
They
time?
guide the
I got some time. Ooh, nope. How do I pronounce SHUAI? Go. SHUAI?
Schwei.
Schwei. Schwei. Schwei? I hope that's right. Schwei. It's like Y with a sh on it. Schwei. Schwei. Schwei at Cool Tea Bar and Poke. 11 minutes to the top of the hour. It is 6:49 a.m. Hey, we are going to go back to America's First News here in just a little bit, round out the hour with that. And then in the 7 o'clock hour, we are going to join into the Auburn Meddlers meeting as we do every Tuesday during the 7 o'clock hour. And then in the 8 o'clock hour, we've got Schwei coming in from Cool Tea and Bar. Do you know about this boba tea? Do you know about this bubble tea? We'll be talking all about that. It's National Bubble Tea Day. Back with more after this. Schwei. Schwei. How do I pronounce poke? Yeah. How do I pronounce poke bowl?
Poke bowl.
Poke. Poke. Okay, poke bowl. Poke bowl. And it's Schwei, right? Schwei? Oh, don't need that ad.
Schwei.
Schwei. Schwei. That's what we're going with. But we'll ask. Okay. Always nervous around pronouncing names. Oh, shoot. Oops. Nope.
Was entered into in 2021.
Okay.
The stalled decision comes as Norway
Schwei.
blasted Western allies for a double.
Back now to edit the news.
Actions in Gaza versus Russia's in Ukraine.
Oh, and I need to get it.
RP made the charge Monday on the second day of the World Economic Forum in Saudi Arabia.
We are now living in the time of a deep crisis of the credibility
Here we go.
of
Okay.
institutions that we have.
Back in a bit.
And I think this has been exacerbated by the crisis in Gaza and by the inability by many Western countries, I would argue, not Norway, but many of our colleagues who have hesitated to use the same type of language against violations of international humanitarian law, for instance, that we easily apply when they are violated by Russia in Ukraine. When it comes to Gaza, we have not been able to see the same type of response against. It's a different case because, of course, it was the first act was the Hamas attack on Israel, but the way Israel has conducted the war has also been very problematic in light of global norms. And if we don't call out that, it comes back and holds even the argument on Ukraine.
Israel stands accused of genocide at the International Court of Justice. Israel's foreign ministry said late Sunday it had informed missions abroad of rumors that the court could order the arrest of senior Israeli political and military officials, but the ministry did not give the source of the rumors. Netanyahu, meanwhile, said Friday on social media that Israel will never accept any attempt by the ICC to undermine its inherent right of self-defense. NATO countries haven't delivered what they've promised to Ukraine in time, allowing Russia to press its advantage while Kyiv's depleted forces wait for military supplies to arrive from the U.S. and Europe. That from NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg, who told a news conference Monday the two allies have allowed Russia to gain the upper hand.
Ukraine has been outgunned for months, forced to ration its ammunition. This means that few Russian missiles and drones have been shot down, and Russia has been able to push forward along the front line. But it's not too late for Ukraine to prevail. More support is on the way, but leadership and bravery alone cannot repel the Russian forces. You also need arms and ammunition. I know that serious delays in support have meant serious consequences on the battlefield. For months, the US was unable to agree a package, and European allies have been unable to deliver ammunition at the scale we promised. Other allies are looking into what more they can do, and I expect new announcements soon. So we are working hard to meet Ukraine's urgent needs. And I have been clear that if allies face a choice between meeting NATO capability targets or supporting Ukraine, they should support Ukraine. So now our responsibility is to ensure that these announcements are turned into real deliveries, physical deliveries of weapons and ammunition as soon as possible.
Vital U.S. military help was held up for 6 months by political differences in Washington, and Europe's military hardware production hasn't kept up with demand. Ukraine's own manufacturing of heavy weapons is only now starting to gain traction. Meanwhile, Australia, one of Ukraine's largest non-NATO donors, has announced a military aid package worth around $65 million to support Kyiv's war effort. Australia's defense minister made the announcement in Ukraine days after the U.S. announced aid was on the way.
Today we are announcing the next package of support for Ukraine, totaling $100 million.
But this tranche is just the next tranche. We understand that this will be an enduring conflict, and we will be contributing more in the future because we are determined to stand side by side with Ukraine for as long as it takes for Ukraine to prevail. Ukraine must prevail for the future of global peace and security.
Australia has also imposed restrictions on hundreds of Russian politicians, including President Vladimir Putin, military commanders, and business people. They're the most sweeping sanctions Australia has ever put on another country. The Supreme Court Monday rejected an appeal from Elon Musk over a settlement with securities regulators that requires him to get approval in advance of some social media posts that relate to Tesla. The justices didn't comment, leaving in place lower court rulings against Musk, who's complaining that the requirement amounts to prior restraint on his speech in violation of the First Amendment. It stems from messages Musk posted on Twitter in 2018 in which he claimed he had secured funding to take Tesla private. The tweets caused the company's share price to jump and led to a temporary halt in trading. Chang Charlie Safin of Oregon wore a broad smile and a bright blue sash emblazoned with the words Lume USA as he hoisted an oversized check for $1.3 billion above his head. The 46-year-old immigrant's luck in winning an enormous Powerball jackpot in Oregon, a lump sum payment of $422 million after taxes, which he and his wife will split with a friend, has changed his life with his latest chemotherapy treatment to fight cancer just last week.
I've been battling with cancer for 8 years now. Currently, I'm still having chemotherapy. And I'm thankful for a lottery and how I have been blessed with this prize. I will be able to provide for my family and my health. I found out that
All right, here we go.
On driving on the way to work. And I told her,
Turn off the camera. Yikes. This always makes me nervous trying to join in on the meeting via Zoom. Like, are they going to remember it? Are they not going to remember it? mean, we've got programming to cover it, so, but I'd rather have this work than not. So the fact that they haven't started the Zoom meeting 2 minutes before the meeting is supposed to start, a little nerve-wracking. It's a big truck. Is that a truck? No. So now we just sit here and wait. Hopefully they start it. And today's guest is, what's today, the 30th, Medler's meeting. Is Donna Ars. I guess we'll just wait. Hopefully they're having it. So preset. Which makes me wonder, like, did they switch the Zoom option again? Copy link address. Here. New. Paste. 99. Is that what I have? That's it. 990 455 58 990. Darn. Well, I hope they start the meeting. Don't forget about a Zoom, people. I guess we'll see if they started. There's not really a way that I can cut in because this hour isn't formatted like the other hours. This hour is just programmed to be automated if I don't play Medler's meeting. I mean, I literally could just walk down to City Hall. Oh, there we go. We got something.
It's hopefully just going to be technical difficulties in the restroom.
evictions and evacuations when the weather's cold.
Methinks we might be having technical difficulties.
The Animal Day, and that got the most attention because we had, what, Sophie, Katie, 5, 6 dogs that came in. Everything from a Great Dane this size to a little tiny cockapoo thing. No, those are our therapy dogs. Those are volunteers that work in our community. But really a lot of fun to get, best photos we've had in a while at the Board of Supervisors. So, and then Crime Victims' Rights Week was April 21st.
There's a nationwide truck driver shortage. The goal of Aurora and Senator companies is to put tens of thousands of the drivers.
And 4 minutes past the top of the hour, 7:04 a.m. We're going to go ahead and cut into the national news. Now we're going to head over to the Auburn Meddlers meeting. Now a little bit of technical difficulties getting it started here, but we are up and running here. We're hearing updates from Placer County Supervisor Cindy Gustafson. We'll go ahead and cut into the meeting now.
Taxes if they don't pay within a certain amount of time. So we amended that. We had a presentation from our Veteran Services Officer, Steve Johnson, and he reported we have an estimated 25,000 veterans in Placer County.
Woof.
And we helped file a record 5,208 veteran claims last year, which was a 40% increase from the previous year, which itself was already a high. And these claims led to a record of $1.6 million in awards for local veterans in 2023. So that was nearly 5 times the dollar amount awarded just a few years prior, and is in great part due to the enactment of the PACT Act, which is expanded.
Took a little bit to get our act together there.
More importantly,
here we go.
What are we doing per
All right. How are we doing for commercials?
We're accomplishing double the workload of our other counties that are
Homer
applying for
is
veteran
at
services. So
16.
the small and mighty staff. Steve would like to expand that staff as
This is
many of our departments
717,
are looking at their
WT
budget
Plumbing.
requests for this coming year. But well deserved because he's getting
Green Mountain Heating and Air at 7:30. McCullough's.
he's got on staff. He's a great leader for our veteran services officers. Have any of you met him yet? Has he been here to speak? I think he has, right? Yeah.
Do we have anything
Great,
later
great
on?
gentleman.
Lindsay's.
Stephen Johnson. And we also had a report from the University of California Cooperative Extension County Director, and talked quite a bit about preparations for
Okay, so I'm going to do
disasters,
after
the
Lindsay's.
workshops they're providing
WT.
in grazing, drought management, livestock production systems, and then the number of youth participating in our 4-H Youth Development Club has gone up 56% since 2022. We have 684 youth
01.
members. So pretty incredible numbers of going
04.
on. We've also had, that's okay, our master gardeners had 255 volunteers providing 25,600 hours of service. So great reports from both of those organizations.
So miss
We
those.
approved
0. Uh-oh.
those last week, but Riola Vineyard specific
There
plan,
we go.
Placer Vineyard specific
0104.
plan, the
All right, so we're going
PCCP
to put those
fees, the
down
price
here.
indexing for SEGRA permits, agriculture commissioner, affordable housing fee, employee accommodations, adult and children system of care, animal services, environmental health. So whole long list of additional fees that are going up with various portions of inflation. Those are just inflationary updates. They were not increases beyond that. Although obviously with affordable housing, we've got to dive in deeper and look at that with the cost of construction. We also approved a change order for more the work that's being done on the government campus infrastructure for 1.26 million. that brings that total to just over
Change that.
$15 million for the
Over
infrastructure.
here.
Every time they open up the ground, we get more surprises up there. So you would think that would
To
be more prepared,
ABT.
but it's never.
Well, I opened up the ground underneath
How
my
bad it might be, or never as bad
basement,
as
Cindy, and there was a lot of surprises
they
underneath there, let me tell you.
We also
Move
approved
that
the
30 second.
5-year
Okay,
capital
so that takes care of the
improvement
commercials.
plan,
Got that all shuffled around there.
2029. And we approved
Okay.
$3 million in transient occupancy tax funding for workforce housing preservation program and resort triangle parking management. We're looking at paid parking programs in the Kings Beach downtown core.
Paid parking at Kings Beach. Well, that's
With the
probably a good
business
idea.
owners supporting that and pushing that forward, I should say, which is great. And then we had to table the skate park in Colfax. That'll come back in
Table the skate
next,
park in Colfax.
at the next board meeting.
What?
Then that was Tuesday, all the work we did. On Wednesday, the state auditors from all over all the counties came and were at the Ritz-Carlton and North Star. I spoke to that group and welcomed them. Little known fact, the auditors stay out late. So I was the first person on the agenda and they were kind of wandering in. I guess they had a lot of fun the night before. I didn't look for the receipts there for them. If you don't know our county auditor, that's who we have to turn in all our receipts to and make sure we dotted off all the I's and crossed all the T's, as well as auditing many more important things. But I kind of was joking with them. Did you all turn in your receipts for your late night last night? I got more laughs than you're giving me on that one, so I'll just say. And then we had the CRPA governing board meeting on Wednesday, and we adopted another acclamation on our support for housing. Even though we're being sued, both the county and TRPA are being sued by modifications we've made to deal with workforce housing up there. We wanted to go ahead and adopt that resolution and make sure the public is clear.
This is actually pretty interesting. I actually kind of enjoy listening to these updates. I don't know why. It's interesting just to know what's going on.
I guess last Wednesday night and Thursday, I went down the Western Caucus, which is the Republican congressional leaders and their staffs, were and South Lake Tahoe, learning about forest health and fuels reduction and many of the efforts. They travel around the West and do conferences. They were here with Tom McClintock about 4 years ago this time. Obviously, Kevin Kiley hosted them. Got to meet his wife, hadn't met Chelsea before, and really a lot of staffers from the various departments. So more important than talking to the congressional reps is to talk to the staffers at the various departments on a lot of the work we're doing in biomass and forest treatment, and how impactful it is to our county. You know, they're looking at the Tahoe Basin, but I'm obviously always talking about all of the federal land ownership in our county, how critical it is to us to have their leadership and their funding, especially in a time when we don't know exactly what will happen with state funding this year. And then attended the Placer County Sheriff's Office, did the Right Choice program at Loomis Elementary School. If you've never been to that, that is a tremendous program in which the middle 7th and 8th grade students from around the districts come and go through. They get to see the helicopters and the SWAT vehicles and all of that. But then they go through a mock court case, a probation hearing, a party that occurs, an overdose that occurs, and unfortunately a death that occurs. And just to watch the kids go through the various stages where they're joking around and laughing and not paying much attention to the point when there is an announcement of the death and the family is there. It's very, very moving and emotional for all of us moms, especially when you see 7th and 8th graders really with the gravity of the fentanyl situation. And then yesterday we had the Placer LAFCO Strategic Planning Workshop, which was a really nice first time in many years strategic planning workshop for the cities, counties, and special districts to talk about what we're trying to accomplish at LAFCO what our goals are for the coming year with so many applications coming in, and then how we work together to make sure some of the concerns of the past with tax share agreements for annexed areas and other areas are addressed more holistically and with policy background, and not just based on who's on the commission at any time, because we rotate those seats between all of our representation. And then finally, the last big update for all of you, I think you probably heard, the planning commissioners did approve 4-3 in a very split vote, the rezoning of 13 of the staff's recommended sites for rezoning to meet arena numbers. They did recommend adding the Cincinnati Avenue site, which we've been fighting for. It's a county-owned 26.4 acre site. Has a lot of problems with actually getting infrastructure and development on the site, but it is a huge part of meeting our 1,200, a little over 1,200 units that we need to do. So it will come to the Board of Supervisors on May 21st.
Bird is like on the very tip top.
This is, we were
Like
able to meet
one
with the
little
city
branch at
staff.
the top of the
Thank you for
tree and
sending your
bending the
staff
top
out
of the
there,
tree over. It's
and the
hilarious.
mayor to talk about the rezone on 2 sites.
It's
in
like the
particular
topper on a
that the
Christmas
city
tree.
has sent us a letter on. They
Oh my
remain
cow.
in the Placer County Planning Commission's recommendation.
Wow.
The owner then said he was going to pull them out and not be willing participant. As of yesterday, he had pulled back and was telling my office he wanted back in, but he wanted guarantees from me. I've heard loud and clear from the community about the challenges with that site and the concerns specifically with some of the activity he's already done on the site. And we're checking into all the compliance there, but it's still on the list from the Planning Commission, but I think the Board of Supervisors will be taking a very hard look at those 2 sites. I will be urging them to do so. Any questions? Yes. Uh-huh. They're the 71 and 72 are right there.
16 minutes past the top of the hour, 7:16 a.m. If you're just joining us, we're listening into the Auburn Meddlers meeting, the Chamber of Commerce meeting that happens every Tuesday during the 7 o'clock hour. We're hearing updates from Placer County Supervisor District 5, Cindy Gustafson. She's taking questions from the audience now. We'll go ahead and go back into the meeting.
And forwarded it to us with their approval, 4-3. We still have to make the final decision as the board. So I'm getting lots of letters on that one, as well as a couple of the other ones in West Roseville, not West Roseville, Western County, South County, especially the ones in District 4 on Fuller Avenue and what's the cross street? Auburn, Folsom, and Fuller. Yeah. 71 and 72. They've had some permits. They moved ahead of some of those permits, and code enforcement, code compliance is looking at all those issues. Yes, Al. We're moving forward. We just approved more money, and
Man, you got to be a special type of person
Auburn's
to
good. We've secured those funds.
go to those meetings
Well, I
about
would think the
approvals
library
and
director
fundings and
But I'll
complaints
be, I
and
think I'm going to Tai Chi. How many people are there?
I mean, I'm sure there's the upswing on it, I'm sure,
Pass that
but
along and make sure that they let,
wow,
because we just approved the final stage of
government
drawing
office.
specs and plans to get that.
I
moving.
know that there's maybe it's the perks that you
Okay.
get that make it worth sitting through what
Yeah.
sound like incredibly
She's
boring
giving me a
meetings.
thumbs up. She can do that, Al.
Although it is interesting to hear about the
Thank you
updates.
very much. Thanks for letting me go first. Sorry to miss the program today, but I'll be back next week.
Otherwise, Yeah, we need to. We'll figure out the Zoom stuff and get that fixed. So on the rezone stuff, that was a 9-hour meeting that the planning commissioner sat through, and I made a comment during my public comment that if anybody should be bearing the ire of people in the community, it should be the state and not so much the locals, the electeds and the planning commission, because it's all handed down by the state, right? So God bless the planning commissioners for sitting there for over 9 hours. I was there for a half hour and then bailed out as soon as I made my comments. Jonathan sat and kept my seat warm for about 4 hours, and then we switched. So I came in like the white knight on the horse, and then left as soon as I was done. So, couple things. Canyons was this past weekend, so we had 2,500 racers from 70 countries come. Huge influx of people, obviously.
Yeah, a lot of countries were there.
Really cool event. I got to serve on an aid
Super
station
cool.
with Katie. In the background at the Clementine Aid Station. Manoj from Auburn Recreation District signed me up for that. Didn't tell me I had to be there at 5:30.
Oh, Manoj!
Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have done it. So 39 degrees and cutting watermelon, not fun. Somehow I switched up my watermelon cutting technique halfway through, and it turned out completely different.
20 minutes past the top of the hour. If you're just joining in, we're listening to the Auburn Meddlers meeting during the 7 o'clock hour, hearing updates from City Manager Sean Rabe, talking about the Canyons and how he volunteered. Back now to the meeting.
So just the fact of seeing somebody that's 74 years old still doing that is amazing. Yeah.
He had no competition.
Yeah.
For his age group. And 50 years ago, when he won the first time, he had no competition for his age group.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, I saw that too. I commented #goals. Like maybe eventually I'll get to be like Gordy and be able to run more than around the corner. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. One of the things I want to figure out is like what the economic impact of those kind of races are here. Like the amount of people that we bring. Obviously, there's money being exchanged, and so we know there's an economic impact with that. But there's also like Auburn being on this kind of world stage. I was watching the YouTube live feed at one point. There were 2,500 people watching the live stream of people just running through the canyon. So the amount of just like publicity that we get from that is really impressive. But I don't know how to figure that out. What find the dollar amount? I need to figure that out. I know that the restaurants were busy. I walked around during the expo stuff and talked to some people at the finish line. So like the bodega was crazy busy, but then next door, A-Town Bikes was like that, which is sort of strange to me because the bikes and running sort of was really a little bit correlated. But there was nobody in there at all. I went across the street and talked to the boutique, and they were completely dead. And so trying to figure out how to make this event like a win for everybody is important, I think. And
Well, bodega has food.
The solution is for that. Yeah.
Everybody's got to
The
eat.
other thing that's kind of weird to me is like everything stops at Central Square and then there's nothing up Lincoln, nothing up High Street. And so you've got all these people just kind of wandering around and milling around Central Square and there's nowhere for them to go. And so I'd like to figure out a way to maybe expand that kind of festival vibe up the street.
That's a good idea.
A challenge with the merchants up there too. So
That's a good
first time
idea.
I've been through the Canyons thing, it was really impressive to see all that stuff. So I know we don't do like question and answer till later, but like what do you all think about the races and the amount of people coming in? Like, what do you think about it? Yeah.
If it isn't that way, then it's a negative influence on the my recommendations or my acclimates to you guys for having her, for the group to put it together, for doing the job that they did. The logistics and stuff like that, it was started up last week at this time today over there. The parking lot was filled. It's a huge logistics situation for the group to put this together. So, accolades to the city on this one for pulling it off, and any others that you can bring in. Quoting the city, and maybe a few of those folks that have moved.
Like Ray. Ray talks loud. Good job, Ray.
But And after those customers are those items put on population growth, they're going back to where they came from. But at the same time, they're bringing the resources here that benefit us.
But not only did they have the race, we could race, like you said, the 2,500 people.
Yeah.
Let's put it in a
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Before and after, always.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, there could be a way to prove that by just getting after.
Can they do that?
Establishments that aren't in maybe offer some sort of race free specials or, welcome, have a sign up front, come browse, we've got,
Yeah.
things like that. The same with the
I got you. Yeah. Yeah.
I agree. Sorry, I think those people are very, very good at people discounting. I think, how do you get the residents here involved?
Yeah.
Whether they want it. I think it's the whole association. Create a lot of questions. What works for them?
Yeah.
What works for them? And that will do.
Yeah. I do think that there's huge missed opportunity by some of the stores who aren't maybe doing as well as they could be. Like A-Town, when I went in there, I was talking A-Town Bikes, and I was like, wait, I guess it sounds like a cooler outside. So something to get people to know that you're open. Their door was shut too, and I didn't even know they were open. So I think that there's ways to capitalize on that and just making sure that businesses are doing that. But the idea
Hey, Sean.
coming in here, those people are going to come back, right? It's not like the racers are here on their own. They bring family, I'm sure. But one thing that I think we're missing is lodging. So people, like everybody is sleeping Rockland, Roseville, all the way down, maybe up a little bit. But there's a huge missed opportunity there that I think we need to figure out too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, right. Yeah. All right. I appreciate the kind of indulgence there. I talked about the rezone project. I went to that meeting. I was there for just a half hour and spoke quickly and then bailed out. I've talked to the property owner for 71 and 72 that you were talking about, right? And I don't really know what's going on with all that. I'll figure it out later. I do think, like I said, though, that this is kind of a state-created problem for everybody. The city has to follow the same rules that the county does. And this past time with our RENA numbers, RENA housing needs allocation, we were able to meet those numbers without having to do a bunch of rezones, luckily. But next time, we have to do this every 8 years. And so next time, we probably aren't going to meet that. We are going to have to rezone additional properties. The other problem with all this, I've talked to some of the folks that were concerned about the 71 and 72 sites, is that there's no guarantee that if the rezone is done, there's no guarantee that the high density is going to be built out as affordable housing, because unless the county is going to deed restrict it in some way, which they won't, so you could end up having all those units be built out as condos, market rate housing, and then the county has to rezone another property somewhere else if that lost within their needs. And so the county is stuck basically behind a rock and a hard place. The state's taken away the mechanism for us to be able to build affordable housing through redevelopment. So it's just a bad situation all the way around, I think, for everybody. And I understand the concerns that everybody has. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of solutions, I think, to that.
Apparently, there's the coalition supporting rural county.
RCRC.
Right. Are you getting feedback from other counties and municipalities their solutions to this problem or how they're approaching it?
There's not really any solution. I mean, Huntington Beach has basically just been sued by the state, and eventually they'll either have to roll over or they'll go bankrupt, right? I don't know what the solution is. RCRC they don't really have the capacity to fight back. They have more of a capacity to do by ourselves as that. There's not like a real good solution. The other thing is that it's obvious that we have a housing crisis in the state too, and so we do need to build housing. But there's this like huge hole in the law that allows the density to be built out as market rate instead of affordable, and then you don't get anything out of it other than just a bunch of complexes. So that needs to be fixed. Sooner or later, that hole has to get closed. Otherwise, we'll just end up rezoning all over the place and have a bunch of new condos developed that doesn't do anything to solve the affordability problem. And then the other thing is, it's affordable housing, but in order the affordable housing to build one unit, at least in Roseville a couple years ago, it's like $400,000 or $500,000 to build one affordable unit, which is hardly affordable, right? So
yeah, right.
There's no way to make that work unless you're an affordable housing developer that's able to cobble together money from different sources and then put it all into one thing. Like the city would never be able to build that at all, and there's no market reason for a developer to do it unless you have the in lieu fee or the in lieu stuff or the affordable housing requirement where you set aside like 10% or whatever. And that's really the only way to build it. It's really difficult to
29 minutes past the top of the hour, 7:29 a.m. If you're just joining us, we're listening into the Auburn Meddlers meeting, as we do every Tuesday during the 7 o'clock hour. We're going to pause and show some love to our advertisers. We'll be back right after this.
Heating and air conditioning
Pause,
business
show
in the state
some
of
love. Sound like
California
a
has
drunk
millions
there.
of regulations,
Gracious sakes.
but surprisingly, almost nothing when it comes to the technical knowledge required.
like, the poison pill and which one's the least negative impact, but none of them are good. And at the same time, we've got a housing crisis, so we need to figure out how to get people housing. So, wanted to give an update on the fireworks and the 4th of July stuff. So we've been working back and forth between Chamber of Commerce and the
Bad place
fairgrounds.
for commercials.
The city, fairgrounds, and the chamber are doing a joint kind of fireworks 4th of July event. Chamber will be doing this event at Railhead. The fairgrounds are going to do a separate event at the fairgrounds itself. We're splitting the cost 3 ways for the fireworks this year, which we haven't done in the past. So each entity is putting in a third for the total cost. I found out last night that Don Ailes, the CEO of the fairgrounds, has actually found a sponsor to pay for the whole fireworks and stuff. So that's awesome. The city won't have to put in our $5,000. So that's a good thing for sure. I don't know who the donor is yet, but eventually it'll be brought out, and so we'll see how that goes. But having somebody sponsor that, I think is probably a good thing for sure.
Store in the Auburn Town Center, right off the bell.
31 minutes past the top of the hour, 7:31 a.m. We are going to head back now to the Auburn Meddlers meeting, the Chamber of Commerce meeting, as we do every Tuesday during the 7 o'clock hour. We're listening to updates from Sean Rabe, the city manager. We're talking about the 4th of July. Sounds like we're going to have 4th of July at the fairgrounds and at Railhead. So we'll talk. We'll find out more about that.
I guess the question that I have,
John Rogers. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, I do question how long we're going to be able to have a fireworks event in this area, though, just because of the fireworks. Yeah. So the city itself can't sponsor. We're not sponsoring it. We're being invoiced, and we're paying a cost portion of it. Because if the city sponsored it, we would have to get a $10 million insurance policy that would have that fireworks squad, which is not a cheap thing for us to do. So
but it's really important that your question that everybody knows you still see the fireworks from Railhead, and then you actually have a better view because they're not blocked by the trees.
Right. It is a little bit confusing. And like that story in the paper, my comment was fairgrounds needs to be successful for the city to be successful, chamber needs to be successful for the city to be successful, everybody needs to work together to move the city forward. What else? We have a meeting tomorrow with the state of California to talk about our closed landfill stuff that we've been working and dealing with for multiple years now. So we're proposing a new solution to the landfill concerns that the state has, and I'll report back on that next week. Give you all a little bit of an update on that. So you all know that the landfill's been closed for quite a while. There's an issue with groundwater because groundwater is shallow here, so the groundwater is higher and actually touching into one portion of the landfill. Doesn't create a contamination issue with groundwater or anything like that, but the city has to pump the water down, keep the groundwater table lower, and then pump that water into the county sewer system, which comes with cost. And eventually that needs to be resolved one way or the other. And so we've been working with the state on that to get that figured out. Yeah.
They closed it over 30 years.
And we're still dealing with it.
But they changed regulations.
Right. That's one of the things that we're going to be talking about. It's hard to force us to make, to follow new laws when they did whatever closure based on the laws that were in existence at the time and change the rules on it. That's kind of all I got. We didn't have a meeting last night, obviously. We won't have a meeting until May 13th. We're still working on budget. Still working on budget. So that's process has been difficult. Trying to figure out how to plug that structural deficit that we have that I've talked about before. So we instituted a hiring freeze. We got rid of the slush and went to a freeze. So that'll be a challenging thing to try to work through all that. So.
Ooh, hiring freeze. Well.
And Mr. Jeremy, he's one of our peer research specialists in the top stage.
And if you didn't catch that, we've got Donna Ars. She is the executive director for the Forgotten Soldier program. She is the guest speaker today at the Meddlers meeting. We'll go ahead and go back to the meeting.
Started adding first responders into our program to help them holistic firefighters, police officers. Over at the county, we've seen in the last year over 68 people plus some of their families, all free of charge because of 2 large grants we've got. So people are supporting us and helping us. And I want to thank Cheryl Mackey because she spearheaded for the garden electricity. And I want to thank the city for everything that you've done for us. And now we can plug in, we've got electricity. And have any of you been over the garden lately? You need to walk through it. It's the most beautiful, serene place you have ever seen. I did that. I don't like to say I, but for the community. It's about our community. And when you talk about the run, if all uptown would set things up for children, parents come in, the husbands or wife are running, but they have all this time to spend with the children. So if we set things up, different places to help with that, we could really do some great things. So the garden's paid for. All of you know that, right? Yes. So did anybody read the paper about the other big news? Yes. So the big blue building, we call it, but it's the original Hancock House. I've worked very, very hard the last 2.5 years to find a donor to have it appraised and see if we could purchase it for the nonprofit to make it a hub for all first responders and veterans from the community. Mental health, their families, and make something in downtown Auburn where people can come and get the help they need. So we had it appraised, for $1 million, exactly $1 million. We had a donor, her name is Judith Carter. She came in, put $1 million in escrow, paid for the building, and it now belongs to the Forgotten Soldier program. That's a huge, huge thing that has happened for the community. And I just am very, very, very grateful because everybody says you can't build the garden, you can't do this, you can't do that. But when God's in charge and something needs to be done for the community, it just happens. So Jeremy's going to give a version of what's happened with the program on the peer-to-peer specialist, what has happened with all of our health care, and how the program's grown because we added a division called Placer Reset. for all of first responders in Placer County. So I'm going to turn it over to you. And then we'll do questions after.
Good morning. So my name is Jeremy Duckham. I'm just going to talk a little bit about some of the important things I've been doing at Placer Reset, the Ground Silver program. So I had 20 years of law enforcement. I retired, I think, about 2 years ago now. So towards the end of my career, I started the downward spiral of post-traumatic stress, depressed, anxiety, had some suicidal ideations. At some point, I knew I wasn't going to make it the rest of my career, so I reached out for some help. Just a quick kind of rundown of what I had done. I started with EAP, which was great. They referred me to psychologists, started working with the psychologist. Of course, they want to give you medications. They push the medications these days, take the pill, you feel better. I had gone to a full week-long retreat for post-traumatic stress, which was great. But honestly, the biggest turning point in my healing process was when I found the Forgotten Soldier program. And it was totally by accident. I was helping to organize a charity golf tournament for another nonprofit I was working with. And I wanted an organization just because of what I was dealing with that represented treatment for post-traumatic stress. So I knew a lot of officers are former veterans. So I happened to see the Forgotten Soldier program. I read a little bit about it and read their main focus was at veterans at that point. So I reached out to Donna. I said, hey, can you come to the golf tournament, represent the program, get a little post-traumatic stress treatment awareness out there? And during that conversation, she said, well, tell me about you. And I'm like, I'm not here to talk about me. I'm here to help this fundraising golf tournament, right? So I gave her a little bit of rundown about me. I feel like she had this kind of sense about maybe I need some help. She said, why don't you come up with the program and let me work on you? So I said, I've done X, Y, and Z already and kind of open for everything, so sure. So I came up and started some treatment with Donna, and it was transformative, 100%. All the other things I've done were great, but this program is what kind of helped me turn the corner. So it was so important to me, I decided to join the board. So Donna brought me on as a peer-to-peer specialist. So what I do is I work with some outreach to other law enforcement in the area. And we also have another peer-to-peer specialist named Veda, who's amazing, and he's more of the military veteran side of it. He's a former Air Force medic, so he's on the board also, the same thing I do, but more of the veteran side. So last year, what I want to talk about is our outdoor retreats. So we got a couple grants from some different organizations to put together an outdoor recreation therapy type of events. There's been a ton of research the last few years as far as the benefits and the healing aspects of outdoor recreation therapy on post-traumatic stress treatment. And what it actually has done, the benefit of it, is people that are suffering from post-traumatic stress tend to isolate yourself. And the world is chaotic on the outside, so what you like to do is you like to stay home. You start to shut out your family, you start to shut out your friends, and home becomes sort of your safe space. And the longer that goes on, the worse it gets. People have fear of going outside, fear of situations with large crowds. So what we've developed is the outdoor recreation therapy and the Forgotten Soldier program. And so what we're doing is we're reaching out to veterans and first responders to get them out, to get them in an environment where you're with like-minded people you can open up and talk to, and you're doing something that's outside your comfort zone with some sort of an outdoor recreation theme. So last year what we did, we started with a whitewater rafting trip. So we had 2 full boats, I think about 12 veterans and first responders within the American River. We got people out there, and we actually did a overnight camping trip with that day. So it's amazing to see. The beginning of the day, what happens is everybody shows up. People don't really know each other. We don't tend to want groups to come together because we want people to sort of start talking to others throughout the day. So in the morning, everybody's kind of sitting in their own little areas, not really talking, maybe on their phone, drinking their coffee. And throughout the day, you see people start to interact more with each other, to start to tell stories. By the end of the day, people are laughing, they're in groups. It's an amazing transformation to see people start smiling again and start laughing and kind of get out of that little closed, quiet bubble that you tend to gravitate towards when you're suffering from post-traumatic stress. So in addition to the whitewater rafting, we've done a horseback riding trip up in the Sierra Nevada mountains, which was awesome. There's horses are amazing therapy for people also. So we took a pretty big group out there. Did I think it was a 2 or 3 hour horseback ride. Afterwards, we had a nice big barbecue, a little grill with some people. We've done a mountain biking trip, which they always like me to tell the story. So we did mountain biking up in Downeyville, which is world-class mountain biking. If you haven't heard that, people come from all over the place to mountain bike up there. And so in my mind, we're going to go mountain biking down some trails, right? I have no idea how intense the mountain biking is there. We rented some bikes from a local business there in Downeyville, and one group decided to go down some dirt roads, just kind of a leisurely type mountain biking, which is where I should have gone. But the other group was like intense, sheer cliffs down into the river. I saw my life flash before my eyes several times. So I think we're planning on doing that again. But I'm going to take the leisurely ride down the dirt road this time. We are hoping to get additional funding this year. We have some plans to do a deep sea fishing trip. We're going to hook up some just our veterans and first responders together, go out for the day and do that. We're hoping to do a snowshoeing day, but I think it's probably getting a little too late in the season at this point. But what we're doing as an organization is absolutely changing people's lives and helping them towards their recovery of their post-traumatic stress. In addition to the amazing work that Donna and some of the group do with the actual one-on-one treatment. So I just kind of want to share a new branch of sort of what we've been doing in the Forgotten Soldier program. And we absolutely love the community support, of course. And if you know people that are in need of this type of treatment or this type of help, please refer them to us, and we absolutely would love to help them. So that's kind of where we're at. Just want to share a little update with you.
15 minutes to the top of the hour, 7:45 a.m. We're listening into the Auburn Meddlers meeting, as we do during the 7 o'clock hour. We're hearing from the heads of the Forgotten Soldier program. We're going to pause to show some love to our advertisers. We'll be back right after this.
Award-winning residential and commercial cleaning service. They've been voted
That was
best
close.
house cleaning service, best customer service, and best place to work in Auburn, Roseville, Rockland, Loomis, Colfax, Folsom, even El Dorado Hills. Mention KAHI and get 10% off your first cleaning service. Give them a call and find out why they are voted best of the best year after year. Call 530-745-4227 or check out IJustWantItClean.com.
Hi, this is Andrew Twidwell, owner of ABT Plumbing, Electric, Heat, and Air. ABT has been in business since 2001, and we are thrilled to have been voted Auburn.
Because what people don't realize, yes, the building's paid for, but we still have to rent the rooms. We still have to pay.
I know Donna is her name, but
We
Donna
still
wasn't
have
the
to
one that
pay
was
rent
speaking,
as
so
the Forgotten Soldier program.
I didn't catch the name of the guy who was speaking.
This is the
I'll
central
announce her
part
when she
of
comes back.
downtown.
But thank
So
you
to have that
very much
garden and that
for that.
building together is gigantic for us. Gigantic for the community.
Donna Ars.
So Donna, let's say I have who's a former first responder, who's exhibiting signs of withdrawal, doesn't want to get together with people. It's very friendly, very nice, one-on-one, but doesn't ever do. What can you do for someone?
Oh, I am?
Or what can I do?
Oh, Donna.
Send them your way.
Oh.
Visit the garden, take them there and show them that, and then say,
Oh my gosh.
"What's going over there?"
She's the one that's coming on here.
Incredible
Oh my
work.
gosh.
These
That's
people
cool. I didn't read the rest of the text
help you.
message.
Here's a card. Maybe give them a call and just see what happens. Example, Veda
That's
came
cool.
to the building 6 different times, walked in front, stood on the porch, one of our peer-to-peer specialists.
916-339-7070.
And 12 minutes to the top of the hour here at FM 104.5, AM 950 KAHI. You know what it is. It is the voice of the foothills, 7:48 a.m. We're going to head back to the Auburn Meddlers meeting where we're hearing from Donna Ars. She's the executive director of the Forgotten Soldier program. Fun fact, actually, Donna's going to be here. She's going to be a guest with me on Friday. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Let's go back now to the Meddlers meeting.
Completely. And so all it takes is one opportunity for someone to want to make that step.
Yeah, that's her. She's on the chamber's website. They have the calendar, and that's her name.
That's something that's great about these retreats.
Ours. Well, that's cool.
I would say probably the majority
Pretty good
of people
timing.
we had go on the initial or go to the retreats are not currently being seen at the Forgotten Soldier program. So it's also a way to open up the program to people. We don't have an agenda when we do the retreats.
Cool.
We don't say, oh, we're gonna at this time we're gonna talk about what the program does. It's a natural. We have to have natural conversations. So when we're out and Beta and I represent the program, it builds a genuine curiosity about, okay, this is fun, but what do you guys do at the program? That allows us to talk about all the benefits of actually being seen on a one-on-one basis. So that's another good thing is, hey, this organization, they're planning a fishing trip for first responders. If you want to check them out, no cost.
You explain what you do. Trips and all that. How do you do it?
So when they have to come see me first, because I need to know where they go. If they need VA benefits, I have the direct lines to get them where they need. If they need housing, I have a direct line to get them where they need. If they need mental health help, I figure out exactly a plan. We have marriage family counselors in the building. We have stand therapists in the building. Pretty well anything we need, we have in that building, but if we don't have it in the building, I find someone that can help that person. But the work we do in Chinese medicine, the whole body, the whole person, we sit. Most people want to be heard, seen, and be acknowledged, right? So when you go to the medical community, it's 15 minutes, but yes, you need certain things, but you get a full hour and a half to really explain what you need in your life, and we'll find the avenue to go there.
And from someone that's gone through the treatment, from the other side, so I mentioned I had gone through therapy and medications and all that. All those traumatic events that I carry were still there through all of that. Yes, I didn't feel alone anymore when I went to my week-long retreat with other people. That was amazing, but I still had those things. So what Donna does, the Chinese medicine and the energy healing and all that, I still carry those events, but she's been able to remove a lot of the negative reactions that my body has to those events. They're still there, but now it's kind of like, yeah, that's there. It's something I've gone through, but I don't have that anxiety. I used to be paralyzed sometimes when something simple as I'd be in Rockland and a police car would go by, I would feel sick to my stomach. That doesn't happen anymore.
And I'm sure you're working with the homeless shelter, if you will. Do you get a percentage of the first responders or vets out there that are helping?
So if someone is homeless and they need help, yes, we will help them. We are not doing the stand down this year because we're too busy to do the stand down. But if somebody is homeless and they need help, we will help them. Ours is an open door policy. How can you let a person suffer? I mean, some people can, I guess, but that's not what we're about. We are there to help whoever needs help.
What do you do with the existing building?
The building? No, I've been in that building for 18 years. What other facility? The 991 Lincoln Way, the big blue Victorian old Hancock house, the nonprofit now owns that. We've been there for 18 years.
Pay rent.
No, we've been there. Yeah, it's been our home for a long time. So if you can imagine it and believe it and take the action to make something happen, if it's supposed to happen, it's going to happen, and that's what happened over there.
Now we can control who's actually taking up the other spaces in the building, just to make it more towards our mission, this holistic healing.
Your program is global. Your other programs are national, maybe international.
So I have an answer for that. So last year, the lady that's in charge of El Dorado Hills, this part of Northern California, she called me and she said, I have a group of lady veterans from Wounded Warrior Project, and I love what you do, and I know it works. Will you work with a group for a Saturday? Yes, I did, and then we did a men's group. But the only thing about that, they took pictures with the Wounded Warriors banners. We didn't get credit on their social media for any of that work that we did. So when you ask me if we work on that, yeah. Yeah, so,
More proactive than that.
yeah, I know. I'll work on it, but we're doing good things, and it's calling, and everybody that comes is supposed to be there. Any other questions? I hope we answered your questions.
One quick comment. The way you described what occurred to you, where your offense were in charge of you, but you're now in charge of them. Yeah, really good.
That's perfect. We need you for our marketing.
Is this kind of corporation, for lack of a better word, for the first responders, whether they be firefighters or police officers? So, is there, as they exit that career, are they getting resources like you as a resource?
We are on Placer County Sheriff Group on their, what do you call that, where you can look up different resources. We're there, but what's so interesting, the people that are coming are people that are referring. If we see a deputy sheriff, all of a sudden we have 4 more because they're referring each other. What better compliment can you get in life for one person to refer another person? It's a really big compliment.
There was a dynamic. My father was a veteran, and my father was also a veteran. And the two of them came together and they shared stories that we never heard. Because it wasn't, we didn't have the same experience. So in relating them, I could see that dynamic one. So this person I asked earlier, who might be a good referral,
All right.
I'm not sure I'm the So I got to find that avenue, but he's definitely showing signs.
I had a firefighter recently call me and he said, my back is killing me. I can't get up and down and I'm only 30 years old. I said, come see me. We'll fill out the paperwork and I sent him to a specialist massage therapist and we paid for that because we had the grant. But all he needed was some extra care, some extra attention, and to release some of that stuff. So you just work for the personalities. Everybody's different.
So the business of your business is actually your fundraising.
Yeah.
That's the engine that runs all of this. So what date is it on?
It's on the 22nd, and anybody that came last year and Ray came the first year, it's a really good party.
So
And now we have electricity. Yes, and now we have electricity. No generators.
So it'll be June 22nd. If I wanted to attend, what can I get?
So you can go on the ForgottenSoldierProgram.com and you can purchase tickets right there, and you can print them off, and we'll have them at the front gate too, or you can buy them at the front gate.
How much?
I gotta look at this.
How? Okay, how?
They're $75.
Okay, how? Schwei at Cool Tea Bar and Poke How.
Full dessert,
I don't know how to pronounce that. Come
Yeah, incredible.
hell or high water. How? Schwei at Cool Tea Bar and
Right,
Poke
there's
How.
sponsorships, right, and you get a table of 8. So we still have some sponsorships left open. There's a $2,500
Schwei at Poke.
1,500,
Schwei
1,000, and
at Poke How.
I think that's the sponsors. Yeah, but we are at 5, so we can use 2 more.
All right.
Anything else?
Any other questions? Thank you very much for coming today. And we're done.
And we were just listening in to the Auburn Meddlers meeting, as we do every Tuesday morning during the 7 o'clock hour. We were listening to Donna Ars. She's the executive director of the Forgotten Soldier program here in Auburn. Donna actually is going to be My wife reminded me. She's like, "Hey, I think the person that's speaking right now, she's the one who's going to be. She's coming on the show on Friday, so we're going to have a chance to talk to Donna a little bit more. Talk to her about the Forgotten Soldier program, what they're doing here. I think they're involved with the Armed Forces Pavilion here, just real close, right behind the station here. Really excited to talk to her about that, the events that they have going on there. I'll be honest with you, I didn't catch the event that they said is going on in June here, so we'll talk to her about that. Find out all the good stuff that is happening. We're going to be back in just a moment right after this.
Can be hard. Getting them to listen to hot gossip is easy. So here's some drama you could share with your kid. Dude, did you hear about Cassie and Jake? No, but did you hear that vaping can cause irreversible lung damage and nicotine effects?
Just ad-libbing since they finished the meeting early. Usually they go over.
Gossip if you want to have an open conversation about vaping. So if you want to get tips on when and how to talk to your kids, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
40 seconds to the top of the hour. Coming up in our next hour here, we're going to have Shuai at Cool Tea Bar and Poke How here in Auburn, a new business talking about its bubble tea day. Have you heard of this bubble tea? Do you know what it is? Also known as boba tea. It's the tea with the tapioca balls in it. My family absolutely loves this. I don't know if I'm on board yet. We'll find out more about that here in this coming hour. Pausing now for station identification.
And AM 950 KAHI Auburn.
And good Tuesday morning to you. It is Tuesday, April 30th, and it is right smack dab at the top of the hour, 8 a.m. here at FM 104.5, AM 950 KAHI, voice of the foothills. If you tuned in last hour, you were listening in on the Meddlers meeting. We heard from special guest speaker for this week, Donna Ars, executive director of the Forgotten Soldier program here in Auburn. She's going to be on the show. She'll be in here in the studio on Friday. We'll be chatting a little bit more. Excited to find out more about what they're doing. Sounds like they're doing a ton of good stuff. Just a coincidence that she happened to be at Meddlers this week, and she'll also be here in the studio with me as well. Excited to find out more about that. Coming up this hour in just a little bit, we've got Shuai from Cool Tea Bar and Poke How. Have you heard of this? It's brand new here in Auburn, new business here that serves the bubble tea or the boba tea. Do you know about the boba tea? Have you tried the boba tea? It's, how do I describe it? Now, for me, maybe she can make a believer out of me. It's a drink that I think you can chew. So basically, it's one of these things that's got these tapioca balls in it. So it's a tea, but it's got these little tapioca balls, and they're all in there. And the straws are really big, so you gotta you can suck these little. Here's the thing. It kind of looks like fish eggs in there a little bit to me. So it doesn't seem super appetizing, but my family absolutely goes bonkers over this, and they're not the only ones. It is very popular all around here. It comes in many names depending on where you live, the store you buy from. The beverage may be called different. I believe it was invented in Taiwan. Yeah, in Taiwan where it originated. It was fondly referred to as boba tea instead of bubble tea, but in different places, people talk about boba tea as tapioca tea. That tracks. That makes sense with the little tapioca balls. Pearl tea. There's a name that I can't pronounce, but it's Pearl Shake, Black Pearl Tea, Momi Milk Tea, and many more. Bubble doesn't refer to the pearls in the tea, those little bubble things. It actually, many people think that the term bubble refers to the pearls or the tapioca balls found in practically all boba tea. The truth, however, is that it describes the foamy little bubbles that form when you shake the drink. I don't think I've ever shaken the drink that I've had, but maybe that's what adds to it. Dates back to the 1980s. Boba tea is relatively new in the U.S., but in Taiwan, it has been around since the 1980s. It was developed, the inventor, Chun Shi Tang, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, developed a drink in his tea house. He and his product manager, Lin Hinsui Hui, boy, I got to get better at pronouncing names from Taiwan, decided to add sweetened tapioca to iced tea. I can see where they're going there. They did it first after seeing the Japanese add milk to their coffee. This explains how boba tea was born. It's all the rage these days. Unless you're living under a rock, then you probably know that milk tea has become the favorite beverage of everyone around you. Okay, that might sound like a bit of an exaggeration, but you get the point. After gaining popularity in Taiwan, the drink found its way southeast and then east to Southeast and East Asia. Recently, it has spread to the U.S. and Canada. Yeah, it is all over. So I always wonder if you're trying to suck up one of those little tapioca balls, if you try and suck a little too hard, if it's going to get stuck in the throat there. But I will talk to Shuai at the Cool Tea Bar and Poke How. I hope I'm pronouncing her name. I will ask her about the pronunciation of her name. I'll be honest with you. I looked it up online to a pronunciation guide. But if today is your birthday today, by the way, happy stinking birthday to you. Shout out to my cousins, Allison and April. It is their birthdays today. Two of my cousins, two separate families, born on the exact same day. So my mom's brothers, my mom is the youngest, two of her brothers had daughters on the same day, different in different states. So both my cousins born on this same day. Happy birthday, ladies. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Hey, if you're a fan of cartoons, the cartoon Porky's Hare Hunt debuted in movie theaters, introducing the Happy Rabbit. That would be the prototype of Bugs Bunny, one of the standards, one of my favorites growing up as a kid. Loved watching Looney Tunes and Bugs Bunny. That was on this day in 1938. In 1939, on this date, the 1939-1940 New York's World Fair opened. And in 1939, Franklin Roosevelt became the first U.S. president to appear on television. Whoa, really? In 1939 on television? While appearing at the New York's World Fair. I'm going to have to fact check that one. Did they have TV back then? But hey, we need to find out what this day is looking like with meteorologist Tim Root. Timmy, how are we looking for today?
In the forecast for the next few days, no precipitation expected. Mostly sunny today in the low 70s and light northwest winds. Northwest wind about 10 miles per hour tonight, mostly clear, 45 to 50 for the low. It'll be breezy, it'll be sunny Wednesday, the high around 75. Those 70s will continue Thursday and Friday, so will the spring sunshine. This is meteorologist Tim Root from FM 104.5 and AM 950.
Adam, you're up.
Hey there, KAHI listeners. Producer Adam here to remind you to
love this
listen to
commercial
Chris in the
so
Morning,
much.
along with Matt Ray and America's
It's so good.
First News. Get all the local news, weather, traffic, and local events.
Is it because
you can
I wrote it?
handle,
Maybe.
plus a healthy dose of daily.
And is it because it's my
negatives.
buddy Nate?
Chris in the
Maybe.
Morning with Matt Ray, 6 to 9 a.m. here on FM 104.5
And AM 950 KAHI, the voice of the foothills. I never miss it, and neither should you. My goodness, it's early. Producer Adam there. Adam, give yourself a hand. Thanks for recording that commercial. I know that you never miss it, and neither should you. And yes, at 6 a.m., my goodness, it is early. Coming up in our next segment, we're going to have your Fox Business Report. Actually, no, I'm going to have my special guest, Shuai from Cool Tea and Bar will be here. We're going to be talking all about Bubble Tea Day. Back with more after this.
Day morning, America's First News continues.
Shuai? I think that's
North Carolina.
I think that's her name.
Officer serving a warrant for a felon
Hope I
wanted for possession
pronounce it
of a
right. She's
firearm.
coming in at 8:10. Should be here in about 4 minutes. I should unlock the door.
Monday at a home. Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Chief Johnny Jennings
Want me to
said
record
some
that?
of the officers who rushed to the Charlotte neighborhood to rescue the first wave of downed officers were wounded. The second shooter began firing on them after they killed the wanted man.
I come to you again
Unlock the door.
with heavy heart to announce
Here
that
we go.
Officer Joshua Iyer recently passed away as he succumbed to the injuries that he sustained this
All right.
afternoon in the shooting. Officer Iyer has been with CMPD for 6 years. He was a graduate of the 178th recruit class. He's survived by his wife Ashley and his 3-year-old son Andrew.
All right.
We'll always be indebted to Officer Iyer.
Happy National Bubble Tea Day. Let's start by talking about the exciting bubble tea selection at your restaurant. What inspired you to combine healthy poke bowls with these fun, flavorful drinks? For listeners who might not be familiar with bubble tea, can you describe the variety of flavors and toppings you offer? What are some unique combinations you'd recommend for first-timers? Congratulations on the rave reviews. Even after just a few weeks, what do you think is resonating most with your customers so far? I should learn to read. Reading would be good. Okay. Hope she makes it. She should make it. She'll make it. So what I'm always nervous about is that I promo something like, hey, somebody's going to be here. They're going to stop by. And then they don't show up. So do you just like Do you acknowledge it if they don't show up? You're like, hey, so and so was going to be here, and they didn't show. So, now to the Fox Business Report. Or you're like, just play it off because maybe somebody is just tuning in and they have no idea that you were promoting it anyway. I don't know. It's always a bit nerve-wracking. Saying like, okay, we're supposed to be here in 2 minutes. I don't know why I worried about it, because sometimes, like, a lot of people get here too early, which is good, but then you're just like, well, hang on, I'm kind of doing stuff, so I'd like to like talk with you, but which I think they understand. But sometimes I worry like, oh, are they? Do they not feel like they have anything to do, or do I have to make? I don't like making a ton of small talk with the guests because I want to save that for on the air. Something that I learned when I did radio with my friend Dominic. Just like kind of, hey, what? Like we get there in the morning, we start talking, and like, no, save it for the air, save it for the air. It's like, all right. So you want to keep it fresh. So I always think about, well, I want to ask you about this, but then do they think it's weird? Like if I start talking about it and then I sound like I'm surprised to hear it for the first time, like, oh my gosh, tell me about this thing that we just talked about off the air, not like a minute and a half ago. I'll find out. If my wife is watching, I'm halfway down, more than halfway down.
2 decades ago, as an example of her willingness to make tough decisions. She wrote on social media that the 14-month-old wire-haired pointer named Chris aggressive
810.
Her continued attempt to explain it has only garnered more criticism.
Maybe she was listening.
For a woman accused of hitting her Boston police officer boyfriend with a car and killing him.
She heard me mispronouncing her name. Now she's not going
Reed's own words to firefighters that she hit him. Will prove she's
That is good to have it clear so I can keep track.
John O'Keefe in 2022. The 16-year police veteran found
It is true. That is a good point.
Fellow Boston police officer later
It doesn't hold the hot water like my other insulated one does, but that's okay.
conduct a complete probe of alleged mass police cover-up.
Karen Reed was framed.
Okay, 8:14.
She did not cause his death.
8:34.
And that means that somebody else did. You will learn that it was no accident.
I guess if she doesn't get here in time.
Dead on the front lawn, 34 Fairview Road in Kent on January 29th, 2022.
I could just run Fox Business Report.
That at that address,
And then
lived a well-known and well-connected law enforcement family in Kent.
just start when she gets here.
Because the Alberts were involved, and because they
Well, I could also kind of go along too.
to the investigators in this case.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what
Karen
happens.
Reed was framed for a murder she did not commit.
Prosecutors say the couple had been to 2 bars.
What made you take the leap and open your own restaurant? Was there a specific need you saw in the community that you're trying to fill? Looking ahead, what are your long-term goals for your restaurant? Do you envision expanding the menu? Okay, so what's a poke bowl? Tell me about a poke bowl.
O'Keefe covered in snow. While on the scene, firefighters said she told them, I hit him. Friends and family of O'Keefe.
Very gluten-free.
Conspiracy theories are taking away from the fact that a good man was killed. Well, in the not too distant future, automatic emergency braking will have to come standard on all new passenger vehicles in the U.S.
Okay.
The government says will save hundreds of lives and prevent thousands
We've
of
got
injuries. The National Highway Traffic Safety
3
Administration
minutes.
unveiled the final version of the new regulation Monday, calling it the
We may
most
not make this
significant
one.
safety rule in the past
Or no,
100
2
years.
minutes.
It's the government's first attempt to regulate automated driving functions and is likely to help curb some of the problems that have surfaced with drivers.
See if he makes it.
Automated driving regulation, which will require additional engineering to bolster software and possibly add hardware such as radar, will not go into effect in 5 years.
All right, well,
Traffic Safety
we'll see what
Administration
happens.
said it will also drive up prices.
Um,
$54 million
we'll shout out
$2020 or $82 a
Shingle
day.
Springs.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg
55 degrees where you're at.
362 lives
Right now,
per
looking for a
year.
high today of 71 degrees. Let's turn it over now to the Fox Business
More
Report.
on the way, you're listening to America's First News.
It's coming. Fall mornings turn bitter cold. You Climb into your diesel and it feels like you're sitting on an ice cube. Imagine how your engine feels after a frosty night. Freezing temperatures impact your diesel's fluids,
I
especially
think we're outside of the freezing temperatures,
emulsified within
bro.
your fuel is released, adding more water
Heading
into your
into
system.
summer.
Frozen water in your fuel lines, filter, or bowl will simply slow the flow, or worse, stop
Somebody
the
knock?
flow of fuel in your system. No fuel flow, no start. Get prepared now for the cold that is coming. Hot Shot Secret Diesel Winter Anti-Gel is
All right,
a
just roll with it.
that lowers your fuel's pour point to
You never
minus
know.
65 degrees. If it's that cold out, you should be on the road. You ought to be at home in front of the fireplace.
10 seconds, Adam. 10 seconds.
Anti-Gel Premium Fuel Additive. Available now online at hotshotsecret.com. Powered by science.
And good Tuesday morning to you. It is Tuesday, April 30th, and it is 14 minutes past the top of the hour, 8:14 a.m. And good morning to you, Shingle Springs. Currently 55 degrees where you're at right now. Looking for a high today of 71 degrees. All right, let's turn it over now, as we do, to the Fox Business Report.
I'm Susan Lee, and this is the Fox Business Report. Stocks lost ground at the open after a fresh report.
I don't think this interview is going to happen. Oh well, we tried.
Eli Lilly shares are up nearly 5%. Demand is holding up for its weight loss drugs. McDonald's is reporting its first disappointing quarter in more than 2 years. Its growth slowed as customers were spending carefully. It's also been impacted by the Middle East conflict and China's slower.
Nobody walking up.
McDonald's shares are down nearly 4%. Walmart will close its healthcare clinics in
I got it. Maybe she's making up some boba tea for us to try, to sample.
Coca-Cola's earnings expectations, but the stock is flat. PayPal's
Maybe?
outlook is up.
Glass half, boba tea cup half full.
That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jennifer Solda.
Invested in you.
Teachers are dynamic leaders shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. They're skilled experts. Discovering
what am I doing now? Doing traffic. After this.
Inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, leading by example. Teaching is a journey.
It's trafficy out there.
Lives. Are you ready? Explore teaching at teach.org, supported by the U.S. Department of Education and 1 million teachers of color.
Ready to take charge of your health and wellness, look no further than Sunrise Natural Foods, your trusted source for all natural organic produce and the highest quality supplements to support your well-being. At Sunrise, we believe that
Oh well, we tried. She was gonna maybe be there, maybe not.
the best products at the best prices. All Medi Natura products, 35% off.
Maybe she thought it was another day.
35 and better save 15% off every
I don't know.
Wednesday. Visit us in Auburn and Roseville or online at sunrisenaturalfoods.net.
16 minutes past the top of the hour, 8:16 a.m. Let's take a look outside at traffic right now. Looks like we've got an accident. The shoulder is blocked. This is I-80 westbound at Auburn Boulevard. So if you're heading towards Sacramento there, we've got an accident there. That is back in traffic all the way up to Greenback and a little bit beyond there. So heads up if you're heading downtown today or over to I-80 westbound to I-5, it's going to be slow there. Cap City Freeway heading into Sacramento, slow as well. I-5 northbound and southbound coming away from Sacramento or going to Sacramento is slow. I-5 northbound slow all the way over to River Road there. So it is slow for a ways there. So if you're going out, make sure you're giving yourself plenty of time. 50 eastbound and westbound looking pretty good if you're coming down towards Sacramento. Starting to slow down around Watt Avenue there, as we would expect this time of morning. 65 southbound slow as you're coming to 80 around Pleasant Grove and Blue Oaks, as we would expect. Hey, if you're traveling up 80 eastbound or westbound into the mountains this week, make sure you're giving yourself extra time. A lot of construction traffic going on up there in the mountains as Caltrans is doing some road work there to repair the ruts in the road. So make sure you're giving yourself plenty of time up in the hills today. Back with more right after this.
Odds are you've never heard that. But for the 40 people diagnosed with sarcoma,
Ah, darn. Well, that would have been a fun interview, but
because sarcoma is cancer. Sarcoma is a cancer of bone and soft tissue.
Too bad.
In children and adults. More than 6,000
Maybe she'll come on again.
to sarcoma.
Maybe we can put her in for another time slot. We'll see.
Therapies are desperately needed. More research and increased awareness is necessary to find a cure for a cancer that you probably didn't even know existed until now. Through awareness, advocacy, and research,
The Sarcoma Foundation of America is determined to help those affected. by this
I know. I know. She's so excited about it. Well, maybe something came up. You never know what's going on in people's lives.
Please help us in the fight to find the cure for sarcoma. For more information on sarcoma and the work of the Sarcoma Foundation of America, please go to curesarcoma.org.
18 minutes past the top of the hour. And we were excited to have Shwai here from Cool Tea Bar and Poke How. Maybe she forgot. We're trying to reach out. No, didn't have her here. It's Bubble Tea Day. It's National Bubble Tea Day, or Boba Tea. Have you had the Boba Tea? It's the tea with all the little tapioca balls in it. So maybe we forgot. Maybe we got our signals crossed. We'll try and get her on here maybe at another time, and maybe, just maybe we can get her to bring in some samples too. I didn't think about that. Maybe this is a chance to redo again, have some samples. Maybe they can make me a believer. My family loves the boba tea. I am not so much a fan, but we'll see. We'll be back with your sports right after this. Okay. Everything being said, I think this is the first, with all the interviews we've done so far, I think this is the first no-show that we've had. I think everybody else has shown up. Have I had a no-show? I mean, Jim had a meeting a couple of times, but that's...
single day in Gaza among children, women, men who've been caught in a terrible crossfire of Hamas's making. And so maximizing protection of civilians, maximizing the support that gets to them. This is very much our focus. Now, the quickest way to bring
oh well,
to get to a ceasefire,
as Jazz would say.
and
Oh
release the
well.
hostages. Hamas has before it a
Oh
proposal
well.
that is
We tried.
extraordinarily generous.
We gave it.
On the part of Israel, and in this moment, the only thing
Give it the old college try.
Gaza and a ceasefire is Hamas. They have to decide.
Who should we shout out? Nevada City?
We're looking to that.
Oh, Auburn. I'll do Auburn.
And
Maybe Colfax.
they will make the right decision. We've said clearly for some time.
How much time do I have?
On Rafah,
We got like 10 minutes.
in the absence of a
I should record the news.
to ensure that civilians will not be.
That way I'm not here late. Back right after
we can't
this.
support a major military operation.
Keep the phone with me.
And we have not yet seen a plan that gives us confidence that civilians can be effectively protected.
The terms of the deal weren't public, but according to an Egyptian official and Israeli media, Israel has softened its position, lowering the number of hostages it demands that Hamas free during the initial 6-week phase of the ceasefire in return for the release of hundreds of Palestinians from Israeli prisons. Hannah Siegel is the niece of U.S.-Israeli Keith Siegel.
I do think a deal can be reached. I mean, we know that. The deal was reached in November. Dozens of women and children were released, including my aunt, Siegel. So we know that it's possible, and I do think that's really important to remember. The United States plays a critical role in November. I think, ultimately this is a negotiation between Hamas and Prime Minister Netanyahu in Israel. And one of the things that really worries my family and worries me is that it's arguably not in Prime Minister Netanyahu's political interest to close a deal. And, for us, this is the moment. These videos, as you know, there was a video released a couple of days ago of another American hostage, Goldberg, Poland. I do think that these two videos are a signal from Hamas that they are ready to make a deal, and a reminder that there are American citizens being held, including Keith. I think, there is a lot swirling in the political landscape in Israel, and I'm not here to talk about that, but there have been negotiations going on for months now, for 205 days. There have been deals on the table, and they've proven elusive. And I worry that that is because of Prime Minister Netanyahu. So I think that now is the moment. I have faith that we can do a deal now, but I also think that if that isn't possible, then the Biden administration should think about what they can do directly to bring our American citizens home.
Siegel making the remarks to CBS. The war in Gaza has ground on with little end in sight. More than 34,000 Palestinians have been killed, hundreds of thousands more displaced, and a humanitarian crisis in Gaza is worse. The conflict has fueled mass protests across the globe that have spread to American campuses. U.S. support for Israel, particularly arms transfers, has come under particular criticism, something the administration is keenly aware of poses potential problems for President Joe Biden during an election. Pro-Palestinian protesters at Columbia University rejected an ultimatum issued by University President Manoush Shafiq to disband their encampment. Student organizers said they won't leave unless forced to.
President Shafiq sent out an email announcing the end of negotiations and declared explicitly that the university will not divest from Israel. In that same email, President Shafiq claimed that we had constructive dialogue regarding the student encampment and made insincere statements regarding the university's actions. The university's negotiations evidence an elementary understanding of the words boycott and divest, which have been at the heart of the student movement and at the heart of our encampment.
Columbia's threat to mass suspend, evict, or possibly expel students with only a few hours' notice violates university rules. Faculty in the University Senate who rejected Columbia's plan because it is illegal, were informed that rules of university conduct will not be applied in this instance because the university has declared a state of emergency to manufacture consent for mass suspensions and evictions. Protesters have been entirely peaceful, and the university has previously agreed that it has no grounds to call in the NYPD. This is not stopping Columbia from illegally declaring a state of emergency, which requires Columbia to falsely identify nonviolent protesters as a clear and present danger.
Columbia, in response, began suspending students as protesters and police clashed Monday at the University of Texas in a confrontation that resulted in dozens of arrests. The outcry is forcing colleges to reckon with their financial ties to Israel, as well as their support for free speech. Some Jewish students say the protests have veered into anti-Semitism and made them afraid to set foot on campus. Former Congressman and current CEO of the American Jewish Committee, Ted Deutsch, responding to Democratic Senator Bernie Sanders on CNN, said there is a clear difference between free speech and anti-Semitism.
And on college campuses, the reason that Jewish students are at risk is because the protesters, so many of the protesters, aren't calling for the release of hostages. They're not making demands of the butcher, Sinwar, who slaughtered over 1,200 people on 10/7. They're calling for more 10/7.
Right now, what Netanyahu's right-wing extremist and racist government is doing is unprecedented in the modern history of warfare. Right now, we are looking at the possibility of mass starvation and famine in Gaza. When you make those charges, that is not anti-Semitic. That is reality.
Yeah, I don't need Senator Sanders to lecture me about the reality of what's happening on college campuses. I spent time with students from Columbia, from Rutgers, from Brown last week, and it is not peaceful protests that has people screaming for more 10/7s, a 10/7 every day, 1,000 10/7s, 10,000 10/7s. It's not political discourse to tell Jews that they should be gassed. It's no free speech expression to say that Jews should go back to Poland, where 90% of the Jewish population was slaughtered during the Holocaust. With all due respect to Senator Bernie Sanders, what's happening on college campuses right now from so many of these protesters who are out advocating on behalf of the Hamas terrorists who slaughtered 1,200 is absolutely dangerous. It is inconsistent with the very things that Senator Sanders says that he actually cares about, which is free speech and the ability for everyone's voice to be heard.
A class action lawsuit on behalf of Jewish students alleges a breach of contract by Columbia, claiming the university failed to maintain a safe learning environment despite policies and promises. It also challenges the move away from in-person classes and seeks quick court action, requiring Columbia to provide security for the students. Meanwhile, a legal group representing pro-Palestinian students is urging the Department of Education Civil Rights Office to investigate Columbia's compliance with the Civil Rights Act of 1964 for how they've been treated. Reach out to me anytime across the board on social media at Matt Ray Talk. More on the way. You've got America's First News.
America's First News, coast to coast with Matt Ray.
Hey everyone, Joanne Butler here with Spring Must Have
Now, time for another Otis advisory.
Fun burglars, they're in charge, and the big shakedown is in high gear. When the gum stuck under your desk looks better than what's left on the shelf at the store, you have landed in the new America. And Joey's not going to do anything. When they asked him if he has cataracts, he said, "No, I have Buicks." So lower your expectations, cries the intelligentsia, while the nice congressman lady from Brooklyn looks for a new trade route to your wallet. Fun burglars, they like it when you're worried, because you're easier to scare. So no more Halloween and no orange of any kind anywhere in the building ever. Got it? No Christmas either. And if your house
Okay. Here we go. Last segment.
Tone it down and change into pajamas. While they
Sports ball.
So if you're one of those who still cut your own grass, you understand all this. Remember, socialism is what happens when the sewer backs up. Sure, you can buy toilet water at the mall, but it doesn't mean
15 seconds, Adam.
Critical Otis theory. And remember your Uncle Otis secret decoder ring to pick up all the hidden messages in this stupid bit. That drives him crazy. This your Uncle Otis.
And good Tuesday morning to you. It is Tuesday, April 30th, 30 minutes past the top of the hour, 8:30 a.m. And good morning to you, Auburn. Currently 56 degrees right now, looking for a high today of 71 degrees. All right, let's head over to the sports ball. We're going to get updates from the NBA starting first. We are in the postseason in the playoffs right now. Starting on the east side of the country, in the first round, we've got the Celtics versus the Heat. Celtics win that one 102-88. That is game 4. Boston leads the series 3-1. On the west side of the country, Thunder bring the Thunder in the first round here. Thunder versus the Pelicans. They win that one at 97-89. That is game 4. Oklahoma wins that series. Is it the Oklahoma City Thunder? I think it is. Wins the series 4-0. Lakers versus the Nuggets back here on the west side of the country as well. First round. That is game 5. Denver wins the series 4-1. The Nuggets won last night 108-106 over the Lakers. My goodness gracious, the Lakers got beat. Wow. Yesterday, going to the MLB Athletics, the A's versus the Pirates. A's win that one 5-1. If you heard all of the action here on KAHI, well, you can again tonight. A's are going to play the Pirates right now. They're going to be home for a while. They've got a lot of home games coming up here. Today, we're going to have the radio start time at 6 o'clock, and then the first pitch will be at 6:40. So catch all of the A's action here on KAHI tonight, starting at 6 o'clock. And again, first pitch will be at 6:40 p.m. tonight. Dodgers versus the D-backs. Dodgers win that one 8-4. Padres versus the Reds. Reds win that one 5-2. Braves versus the Mariners. Mariners win that one 2-1. Angels versus the Phillies. Well, here's a California team that ended up winning yesterday. Angels win that one 6-5. Brewers versus the Rays. Rays win that one 1-0. Twins versus the White Sox. Twins on top there 3-2. Cubbies versus the Mets. Cubs on top there 3-1. Royals versus the Blue Jays. Blue Jays up there 6-5. Nationals versus the Marlins. Nationals win that one 7-2. We'll round it out with the Yankees versus the Orioles. Orioles win that one. We used to say Yankees win. Orioles win that one 2-0. Isn't it wild with the A's playing here next year that the teams like the Yankees are going to be playing in Sacramento? That's going to be so cool. All right, we'll be back with your KAHI weather right after this.
Saturdays and Sundays right here on 104.5 FM.
Oh, well. Darn. I was kind of looking forward to that interview.
Tony Bennett, and more. Performing songs
Win some, you lose some.
Sinatra and Friends Weekend.
All right, Timmy, you're up. Get your weather report ready. Get your charts and maps. Kids ready for school. Yeah, it's hard with people's lives. They got a lot going on.
Tuesday morning, we have some nice spring weather in the forecast for the next few days.
I mean, you're a business owner, you're a parent.
Mostly sunny today in the low 70s and light northwest winds.
Ready for school, and she got too late. She says she's ready to reschedule for another. Okay, good. She'd love to reschedule. All right. Yeah, no, that's totally. There's so much going on.
Will continue Thursday and Friday, so with the spring sunshine. This is meteorologist Tim Root from FM 104.5 at AM 950 KAHI.
33 minutes past the top of the hour. Heard from Shuai. Got a little caught up with getting the kids off to school. She is the owner of Cool Tea Bar and Poke How here in Auburn. We're going to talk to her about Bubble Tea Day. Have you had the boba tea? Well, she said she got a little caught up trying to get all the here. I listen. You got kids. You're a parent. You're trying to do all the thing. You're a business owner. Trying to get that all off the ground. Oh my gosh, so many things happening. So no problem. We will reschedule with her. Really excited to talk to her about this boba tea. Now, if have you had it? It's good stuff. My family loves it. I have to become a fan here eventually. But that's going to do it for me. Chris Quant here, holding it down in Studio A. As always, remember until we meet again tomorrow morning to be kind, be honest, be yourself, and remember you can't hate somebody if you're hugging them. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Back to America's First News. I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.
15 morning, America's First News continues.
Okay, well, we tried. I don't know. I think that was fine, handled on air. Just saying, hey, life happens, things happen. Maybe I should have just said life happens. Maybe I shouldn't have given all the details, but oh well. Yeah, well. But it's cool that she's willing to come back. We can definitely reschedule her. And do that again. So now it's just shut down. And now to go jackhammer out my basement. Because we got to replace some pipes. So that's going to be fun. All right. Okay. Thanks for joining. Bye.